come from a military family. My grandfather, who was actually stationed here in Albany during World War II, was in the Army Air Corps. And I grew up with that knowledge that he had a background in the military. And then my father was a Navy man. And so service to community and country was always something that we were raised to believe in, whether it be through community service, through church service, through the military. We were always brought up to give back to the community that gave to us. And so my brother joined the Marine Corps right out of high school, and he and I are very close. And so I sort of followed in those footsteps. Having a lot of brothers, I was always a tomboy, so ROTC in high school was something that I got right into. Loved the obstacle course, loved weapons. So it was just sort of a natural fit, and I wasn't ready for college by any means. So I went ahead and I enlisted in the Marine Corps, which terrified my mom. But it was something that I really wanted to do. So off I went to boot camp, and before I went, my recruiter was really gung-ho about all of his recruits were going to be honor grads. So he drilled us and PT'd us and made sure that we knew everything we could possibly know before we went, so we would have an upper hand. And it was successful because I was, in fact, honor grad of my platoon, which just means that I exemplified the Marine Corps traits coming out of boot camp more than my colleagues did, my fellow Marines at the time. So I had high PT scores, I was high shooter on the rifle range, things like that. So it's something that I'm really proud of. Only one in every platoon gets chosen, so to have that, work towards that goal and have that accomplishment is something I'm really proud of. The other thing that I'm really proud of is this picture right here. So when I was in Okinawa, I had an opportunity to go into aerial assault support school, which basically meant that as an intel specialist, which was my job, to study the enemy and know how they function so that we can prepare better for combat, I had to basically hang out outside of a helicopter with a camera and take pictures of things that might be able to shoot me out of the sky. The reason I'm really proud of this is because I am terrified of flying. To this day, I am terrified of flying. But it was something that I wanted to do. Not many women had done it. As you can see in the picture, I'm the only female in my class. And so overcoming my personal fear and then also breaking a barrier for women is something that is really important to me and something that I treasure.
So I joined the Air Force right out of high school. I was 18 years old. I had been just graduated only 2 weeks, and I left for basic training. There were several things that made me kind of look at the military. One was that I did come from a military family. My dad retired from the Marines, and so I was familiar with that kind of life. I also knew that I wasn't the best student in high school, and so I needed some help with college money. When I was active duty, I served 3 years active duty, and I was something called environmental controls. Basically, it's glamorized pest control. And so I used to have to pick up dead animals and spray for cockroaches, just crazy pest control things. But I actually liked it a lot because I got to learn a lot. I was always looking up what bug is this or what is that. So I did enjoy it, but I was a part of a unit called civil engineering, which is our construction unit basically for the Air Force. And it is a male-dominated field, as you could imagine. There wasn't many females that did our job, like in the field. You know, we had admin and stuff. I was stationed at Seymour Johnson in North Carolina, and then I was stationed at Maxwell Air Force Base in Alabama, and I did 6 years in the reserves. While I was in the reserves, I actually deployed to Afghanistan, and it was probably one of the most hardest things I've done in my life. My daughter was in 2nd grade, and at that time her dad was deployed as well. So I was, gonna have to leave her with my parents. The most rewarding experience for me in Afghanistan was being able to go to these little bases called FOBs and COBs and put in electric and water and AC for like the real warfighter, which to me is infantry or EOD, those guys that are on the front line actively fighting the Taliban, day in, day out, risking their lives for our freedom, essentially. And so it was very rewarding to be able to go and give them those things that we take for granted, you know, like being able to take a shower, being able to not sweat at night, you know, because it's so hot or it's so cold. And so that was really rewarding. And I would definitely do it over again just because of that experience. And then I did 2 more years after my deployment and I got out, so I did a total of 9 years service for the Air Force. And yeah, I'm proud to be a veteran and I'm proud to have served my country in that capacity. Eye-opening, I think that's too, but we'll add a hyphen in there. Eye-opening. The amount of sacrifice that military members go through and their families go through, and just kind of seeing the down and dirty to war or the deployments, it was eye-opening, and it makes me appreciate our freedoms and our freedoms that sometimes we take for granted, and just being able to say, yes, I want to do that, or no, I don't want to do that, or, you know, to be a school counselor, or to be, you know, an entrepreneur, or whatever, just those small freedoms that we take advantage of. It was definitely eye-opening for me.
Humbling. Being a Marine is a very humbling experience. It is a band of brothers, once a Marine, always a Marine. I know that no matter where I go in the world, if I need help, I can reach out to another Marine and they will always be there for me. I know that another Marine will always put their life on the line for me, just as I would for them, and that is a very humbling experience. So if anyone has the call to serve the country in a military capacity, the first thing you want to do if you're a young person, reach out to your school, find a junior ROTC program. If you're in college, find an ROTC program. Go to the VFW, go to the Marine Corps League, start talking to veterans in your neighborhood. We're out there, you just have to find us. We will guide you in the right direction and give you all the help that you need. And then, of course, go talk to a recruiter. There are recruiters all over the place. But I would say first, find a veteran. Go talk to a veteran and see if it's a lifestyle that you really are suited for, because it is a lifestyle of sacrifice and service to your country.
So the first thing I would say is to make sure that you're ready for the military. You know, there's no calling in, there's no, well, I don't want to do it. You know, there are rules and you have to abide by them. And if you don't, it could potentially ruin your life. So the first thing, make sure you want to do it. Second thing is to do your research before you go to a recruiter. You know, recruiters are amazing, but, you know, they have a job to do. And so as a person, you need to be educated. You need to figure out what you want to do, right? Like what interests you. And you need to figure out what branch suits you and your goals the best. So just go educated, you know, don't go in there blind. And if you have people who serve in the military, lean on them, ask them questions, figure out, you know, hey, is this true what I'm being told? Or just for them to share their experience with you.